Thank you, and it's very much a team here who are here to work with you as a team, and thank you for the acknowledgement that where we all do well together, really the people of Ireland benefit, and that's the way that we will work here on behalf of all of the ministers here. Deputy Rice makes a very good point. This is not the most efficient way of using Dáil time. It is most unusual, though, at this time until the legislation comes in, until the committees are structured, but 37 people have spoken here tonight at least, so allow me to try to respond to as much as possible, and I recognise you've been here that whole time. So just in order, Deputy Cullinan, thank you very much for highlighting some of the additional issues in relation to the pressures on hospitals in January. And of course, where we have additional pressures, either from RSV or respiratory, additional pressures, yes, appointments are getting cancelled, yes, surgeries are getting cancelled. That is precisely why, and you are right, the elective hospitals haven't happened yet, and they must happen. And just linked to what Deputy Connolly said in relation to some of the procedures around that, I need planning permission to turn a hospital into a hospital. I need to, because of the public infrastructure guidelines, go out to public consultation in these ways that are not strictly speaking the most efficient way of doing that. And I would like to try and do that slightly differently. So I would ask for your help in relation to that. Deputy Sherlock, I did attend and meet the rare disease community today. Similarly, I met some of the CARED group who were highlighted by so many different groups. Thank you for raising HPV vaccination. Can I highlight how important it is for boys as well as girls and the emphasis around that? And I think Minister Minan O'Connor has answered around GP access, but can we have a conversation about Summerhill, because we do have some solutions on that. Deputy Rice, thank you so much for raising not just the different structure, but around digital health. You're absolutely right around the delay in delivering that, and it needs to be done. Can I just say that as Minister here, I'm glad that my predecessors have done the work in relation to the development of the app as a first stage, but we need to continue to drive on that, and obviously I would like very much to be put under pressure to get the finance for that electronic health record, which I think is extremely important for everybody. Just the other people who are here, Deputy O'Murray, I think we have committed to that ED and to the additional block. My colleague Jack Chambers launched the Bowman strategy there a little while ago, so there is a strong commitment, and I would highlight to all deputies that the HSE capital plan is coming and that there is a very significant body of work outlined in that in relation to this. Could I say, Deputy Burke, thank you so much for raising the complex issues around emergency presentations, and of course consultants are not the only part of that. As Deputy Cullinan recognised as well, there are multiple different factors, and one of the things that I have highlighted is the bank holiday weekend, precisely because that was one of my first weekends there, but this is an every weekend problem. And so what I would expect to see in the scheduling is that there are consultants there routinely from 8 until 6 on a Saturday, not 8 until 2, 8 until 6, of reducing that time, all of the time where there aren't senior decision makers. Now, senior decision makers there. Now, of course, they have to be supported by the rest of the team in hospitals. Of course, they have to be supported by diagnostics. That is very much an inconsistent experience at the moment. In some hospitals, there are access to diagnostics. In some, there are not. That's not okay. I need to be able to come in here and confidently say to you that there's a consistent experience across Ireland. Deputy Ward recognised the experience in Letterkenny. Deputy Daly experience in Kerry. It shouldn't be a geographical accident. And so while I am highlighting these on a sort of a broad basis in relation to the trends that I am seeing, of course I recognise that there are local differences, local nuances. Of course I recognise that it is a broader whole of region responsibility as well as a whole of hospital responsibility. And I welcome the debate by Professor Collins or Dr. Collins and others into this space, because it is highlighting exactly some of the issues that we need to focus on. But at the end of the day, there is a weekly spike which is exacerbated on bank holidays because of the 2-day window where there aren't enough people working, aren't enough consultants working. And I have tried to track resources and the scheduling of resources over the last number of weekends. Thank you to Deputy O'Donoghue for highlighting Limerick, and there's a substantial body of work to be done there. But can I just compliment Limerick actually in relation to their response to Bernard Gloucester on the scheduling that they anticipate over the next number of weeks. And in fact, their response was one of the best and most proactive. So, there's a balance to be achieved here. Could I also compliment Limerick on the fact that they progress with their elective surgeries in the Southern hospitals, cancel it. And again, so what I'm trying to say is I will do my best to try and flatten those lines to make it the most consistent approach across Ireland, that you're not having geographical differences. Could I say to Deputy Timmins, thank you for raising transparency in pricing and in pharmacies. And I know this is a long-standing issue that you have raised. When we had the government scheme the energy credit scheme, it appeared on my bill, the credit that was put towards the bill. And taxpayers, not the government, but taxpayers understood that their tax-paying money contributed to their bill. I don't think it should be a million miles away in pharmacies. If I get a bill, I would very much like to see what was the cost of the medicine, what was the cost of the dispensing fee, and what did the state pay towards that, recognising that the state is paying €500 million to pharmacists every year to support, of taxpayers' money to support taxpayers accessing medicines. And I think there's a lot of merit in what you're describing, and let's have a think about the best ways that we might approach that. Of course, the issue has been highlighted in relation to HRT. Could I take 10 seconds to pay tribute to my predecessor, Stephen Donnelly, who put enormous work into this position and who developed the database, a very strong emphasis on data, a very strong emphasis on process and productivity that I think has led to significant improvements.
Thank you, Minister.
And I just want to pay tribute to his work.
Thank you, Minister. And that concludes statements re the future of healthcare for longer, healthier lives. And the Dáil adjourns now until 9 a.m. tomorrow. Thank you, members.